I think people don't give 2011 the credit it deserves for being such an interesting year in pop culture. We had the marriage between William and Kate, and most importantly, the marriage between Kim Kardashian and Kris Humphries. We were witnessing Kris Jenner being in the midst of redefining celebrity culture as we know it, while also securing a bag not only for her and her family, but for her grandchildren, her future great grandchildren, and probably her great great grandchildren. Like 2011 was probably a peak that just expanded on what we know about the Kardashians. Game of Thrones had just started airing on HBO, while the Harry Potter series was just ending its run with Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. This franchise became one of the most successful and popular film franchises of all time, while also unknowingly opening a dangerous gate to Draco Malfoy fanfiction and edits on TikTok. For those of us who were in elementary school, shows like Austin and Ally, Ant Farm, and Jessie started their run on Disney Channel, while movies like Lemonade Mouth and Geek Charming were premiering at the same time. At that time, we had Bridget Mendler already clocked to her first 9 to 5 at Disney, while most of us were taking her for granted because she had that secret mission of becoming the smartest person in the world. And if we just appreciated her back in 2011, 2012, like we could have gone already like 6 albums out of her, but that's okay. Like we're patiently waiting for that. Planking grew in popularity in 2011. You remember planking, right? Laying on the floor and just, yeah, it's just that. It's just laying on the floor or laying on some table or something. Yeah, that became popular in 2011. Also, I know 2023 was the year of Ryan Gosling with his appearance in Barbie as Ken, but in 2011, the man was worshipped every step of the way, with him breaking up fights, being somehow involved with feminist theory, and creating a Disney conspiracy about ninja cats. I honestly don't even know what that's about. I don't know what kind of rabbit hole Google took me on when it came to looking up pop culture stuff about 2011, but this is what I found. And yes, Ryan Gosling was in one of his many peaks in 2011. So that's how you know that man is loved by several generations. Like, this little rabbit hole that the Google took me on showcased how weird and strange 2011 was for pop culture. And I think that weirdness kind of does reflect a little bit on the music that came out this year. In my opinion, 2011 is one of the less talked about years when it comes to music of the 2010s. I don't know if it's underrated because people want to forget some of the songs that came out this year or what, but 2011 gave us a lot of big things like mainstream Adele, mainstream Nicki Minaj, more Britney Spears, more Beyonce, a collaboration album between Jay-Z and Kanye West, and the debut and rise of some of our favorite artists of today in 2024. And how can we forget that 2011 is the year that Pitbull started gracing us in our lives even more than he already did. And there's something about this year in music that makes me love it even more than 2010. 2011 was just a bunch of random songs getting together on this Hot 100 list, and it was just weird. So I'm just gonna sit here and tell you all about it. So grab your pillow pet, grab a little drink, and let's talk about 2011. Now, let's talk about the artists of 2011, and here's some that we all still love today. 2011 was the year of Adele. Her sophomore album 21 released in January of that year, debuting at number 1 in the Billboard 200 chart. And she did not only reach number 1 in the US, the girl hit that number 1 peak in almost every single country in the world. With that album came 3 number 1 songs and 2 music videos that have already passed 1 billion views on YouTube. Like, she had all of us crying and wishing that every single person who wronged us would just sleep with cold feet every single night for the rest of their lives. She essentially made the best album of all time. The first single from this album is Rolling in the Deep, the number 1 song of 2011 according to the Billboard Hot 100 end chart. And to this day, it keeps proving that none of us will ever be as talented or as graceful as Adele. Then there was Someone Like You, which in my eyes, I feel like it is a much bigger hit than Rolling in the Deep. Like, she gave a powerful performance of this song at the VMAs that year and helped paint a picture for all of us 9-year-olds of what heartbreak truly feels like. On top of that, she also released Set Fire to the Rain and Rumor Has It, 2 of my favorite Adele songs, and they're just amazing singles overall. I think 21 is one of those albums that has transcended so many generations, and now is going to keep transcending decades and decades of music history, because I listened to that album for the first time in a long time last year, and there's not a single bad song in that album. All songs are just incredible. And this is an album that gave Adele 6 Grammys. Billboard magazine, one of the biggest music publications in the world, named 2011 as the year that Adele revived the music industry. Like, you can't say that about any artist. And by the way, I just want to put it out there a little bit more about Adele, some fun facts about her. Adele has 16 Grammys, 1 Golden Globe, and 1 Academy Award. And I think she also has an Emmy. So she's like 1 award away from winning an EGOT, essentially, if you think about it. But we will get back to Adele in later videos, babes. So hold on to that. Next up, we have someone who can literally be the next president of the United States if he wanted to, Pitbull. In 2011, he released Planet Pit, which debuted at number 7 in the Billboard 200 chart. He was already in our hearts with songs like I Know You Want Me, Calle Ocho, and Hotel Room Service, which has spawned countless and countless of memes and pop culture moments. This new album includes some of the best party songs of the 2010s, from Give Me Everything featuring Neo, Afrojack and Nayer, to Rain Over Me featuring Marc Anthony, to Hey Baby, Drop It on the Floor featuring T-Pain. He was also featured in some of the most famous songs from the years 2010 and 2011, such as On the Floor by Jennifer Lopez, We Run the Night by Havana Brown, DJ Got Us Falling in Love by Usher, I Like It by Enrique Iglesias, and Rabiosa by Shakira. Due to the release of this album and all these songs, my man was everywhere. The American Music Awards, I have a whole list here because it's so many. The American Music Awards, the Billboard Music Awards, Dancing with the Stars, X Factor, Premios Juventud, Premios Lo Nuestro. He even welcomed the new year at the Dick Clark's New Year's Rocking Eve event. Like, I genuinely believe that Pitbull raised an entire generation with his music. And there's no doubt about that. Not a Halloween or a typical Tuesday night passes by when I just log on TikTok and start scrolling, and all of a sudden I get a video of of girls, literally girls, boys, everyone, dressed up as Pitbull, wearing bald caps, either going to Chili's or Applebee's or going to a Pitbull concert and dancing with him on stage. Like, if we're going to talk about defining a generation and raising a generation, I think Pitbull is an excellent example of that. I even did a dance to his song International Love when I was about 9 or 10 years old. The song was part of this very crazy mix that had This Is Me from Camp Rock, Pasarela by Daddy Yankee, International Love, and then to top it all off, the mix ended with Gangnam Style. It was a whole thing. But I just wanted to showcase how Pitbull was a part of our lives for a really long time. And that mix was actually low-key kind of iconic, I'm not gonna lie. 2011 was the beginning of a very special relationship with Pitbull. And the man gets us. He's been there, he's done that. But every day above ground is a great day. You have to remember that. He'll pop up every once in a while to remind us that he is a prophet in our society that will come up with the most deep quotes that keep us going. And we love him for that. Like, do you guys not remember that quote that came out of, like, he said last year?
Life is not a waste of time, and time is not a waste of life. So let's stop wasting time, get wasted, and have the time of our lives.
Yeah, like, he should still be massively successful in 2024. I don't know what went on. Like, we need him back in the charts, guys. Now, 2023 was the year of the Barbie, but 2011 marked the beginning of the Barb's revolution. That was the best line I've ever written in my entire life. This year in particular was an amazing year for the queen herself, Nicki Minaj. In November 2010, she released her debut album, Pink Friday, which contains many hits and fan favorites, including Moment for Life, Fly, Roman's Revenge, and Super Bass, which, fun fact, Super Bass was not included in the original rollout of this album. It was included in the deluxe version. I just want to share it out there because it's a fun fact that I found. On my whole entire life, I thought it was a part of the original album, but I guess not. The album debuted at number 1 in the Billboard 200 chart, and now it is certified 3 times platinum. Much like Pitbull, Nicki was also featured in every prominent music artist's singles, like Monster by Kanye West, which honestly, her verse is the only one that matters, in my opinion. Bottoms Up by Trey Songz, Make Me Proud by Drake, Dance Remix by Big Sean, Where Them Girls At and Turn Me On by David Guetta, and Till the World Ends Femme Fatale Remix by Britney Spears and Kesha. Due to her amazing 2011 year, she was nominated for 4 Grammy Awards, 3 VMAs, 6 BET Hip Hop Awards, 4 BET Awards, and 2 American Music Awards. She also performed at the 2011 Billboard Music Awards, America's Got Talent, Good Morning America. Yes, Nicki Minaj has been making us shake our butts and dancing at 8 o'clock in the morning since 2011, and the Grammys. To say that 2011 was not a whirlwind of a year for Nicki Minaj, that would essentially be a lie, because it was an amazing year for her. And I can just remember seeing her go on TV shows like Ellen and having her perform with all these, like, just the only thing that I can remember of Nicki Minaj in 2011 will always be just her with her insane wigs and her insane costumes. Like, if it was between her, Kesha, Lady Gaga, like, they were doing something different. And that's the most that I can remember from Nicki Minaj in 2011. Now, we talked about Adele, we talked about Pitbull, we talked about Nicki Minaj. 3 artists that were either in the music industry but received a boom in their career during this year or released their debut album that year. But then there's 3 major artists that were also going through an interesting time in their career in the year of 2011. And that was Britney Spears, Beyonce, and Lady Gaga. Britney Spears released her 7th studio album, Femme Fatale. This album gave us 4 iconic Britney Spears singles, Hold It Against Me, Till the World Ends, Criminal, and my personal favorite, I Wanna Go. She also appeared in Rihanna's S&M remix, and like I previously mentioned, she had Nicki Minaj and Kesha on their remix of Till the World Ends. That year, she was also given the Michael Jackson Video Vanguard Award at the 2011 VMAs, and that was very much deserved, because in this era alone, Brit gave us a music video where she was legit physically fighting herself in platform heels. She saved us from the world ending. She killed paparazzi robots with a microphone, and she fell in love with the criminal who must be Top Gun's #1 fan because he had a R.I.P. Goose like tattooed on his chest. And that just makes me think that he really loved Top Gun and he really, really misses Goose. I bet he loved Top Gun Maverick. That is the type of artistic expression that is shown by the best of the best, and that is Britney Spears. Beyonce released her 4th studio album, 4, in 2011. Her album debuted at #1 in the Billboard 200 chart as well, but it was the first of her albums to not have a single song from that album peak in the top 10 of the Billboard Hot 100. This was very shocking to find out because I remember Run the World just being played everywhere. And one would have thought that Love on Top would have reached the top 10 after her performance at the VMAs, but that didn't happen. Like, the album had 7 singles: Run the World Girls, Best Thing I Never Had, Party, Love on Top, Countdown, I Care, and End of Time. She also released several music videos for this album, even for songs that were not considered radio singles for the album, more like promotional singles. Like, for example, like the One on One music video. The girl had nothing but the Apple Photo Booth app and a dream, and she still ate it up. Like, that music video is an amazing music video. And the Run the World music video, yeah, she unintentionally teased Cowboy Carter with us without all of us knowing. She didn't even know that Cowboy Carter was coming, but she got on that horse and she gave us more visuals about Cowboy Carter than we could have ever received in our lives, because that's the truth. We're never gonna get visuals from Beyonce anymore. Like, she fed the beehive, and I think people took her for granted on that one. People took her for granted because she released so many music videos. She did interviews. She did a lot of performances. She did like vlogs on her YouTube Vivo page or whatever. Like, this is probably the last era where she did a little bit of everything to promote her album, especially the last time she did a traditional album rollout, because in 2013, she's going to change the game with her self-titled album, which I will get to very soon in a future video, so stick around for that. But yeah, like, we took Beyonce for granted in that era, and sometimes I miss it because no music videos were Renaissance, although we got the movie. Personally, I don't want to be the visual. I'm not pretty enough to be a visual for Beyonce. I need her to give me a music video. Okay, thank you. And then we have Lady Gaga, who in 2011, she released her album Born This Way. In its release, this album became the fastest selling album of the year, selling more than 1 million copies in both the US and outside of the US in its first week. The singles for this album were Born This Way, Judas, Edge of Glory, You and I, and Marry the Night. Each music video for this album was like an individual original concept that connected to Gaga's past, present, and future, and not to mention that she was using this album to fight injustices that were affecting millions of people around the world. It is an album that I believe creates a safe space for anybody who listens to it. The album is a little over an hour, so you have a little over an hour of a little safe space of just you and your headphones and Lady Gaga's music, which I think is amazing. I need people to understand that the genuine creativity of this album is something that I personally don't think we have seen in the last 13 years of the music industry. I'm being very, very, very honest, because I remember when the Born This Way music video first came out, and I remember just being scared to death because I didn't know what the hell was going on. Yes, I was 9 years old. That kind of explains it. But I remember watching that music video and just have it stick with me for the rest of my life. Like, the visuals just stick with you. But that album was just like insane. And to show how iconic this album is and how iconic the songs are, in 2022, 2 years ago, the song Bloody Mary by Lady Gaga was turned into an official single of that album because of the dance trend that emerged on TikTok due to the Wednesday TV show. Remember that whole thing? That song Bloody Mary became an official song from that album, and it kept being played on the radio all the time. And right now in 2024, the song Heavy Metal Lover by Lady Gaga from the same album is also getting that treatment. I don't know if it's going to become an official single, but I know that it has been trending for a hot minute now on TikTok. Like, everybody had Lady Gaga in their brains for better or for worse in 2011. Even for worse, just a little bit, because some controversial things happened, you know? And then also, like, this album even sparked a mini feud between Madonna and Lady Gaga. Like, what? But they're friends now. They're besties now. They like each other. Thank God. Thank God for that. Now, before we switch topics, 2011 also saw the debut and rise of several important artists of our generation, from Lana Del Rey releasing the song that would change the TikTok edit game video games, to The Weeknd releasing his debut mixtape House of Balloons. Tyler, the Creator, released his debut album Goblin, and during that time, Future was releasing mixtapes that were being praised and got him to sign with Epic Records. Last but not least, we have Miss Ariana Grande, who released her debut song Put Your Hearts Up. And sorry that I had to bring it up. I'm only telling you guys this for research purposes, I promise, because trust that I don't listen to that song willingly and acknowledge it that much. But it is a year that she released her debut song, and I know that it's definitely a song, but whatever, it's okay. Now let's move on to these songs of 2011. Now, most of the songs in the Billboard Top 10 of 2011 are just bangers. Literally. Starting with Rolling in the Deep, which had moms and daughters yelling their lungs out and losing their voices, including myself. Like, there are covers of this song on YouTube that have millions and millions of views. There's this one cover that has over 300 million views on YouTube, and that is sung by what I can assume is like a 10-year-old in a band from Mexico. Also, you had artists like Linkin Park and John Legend covering this song, and Linkin Park's cover, like Chester Bennington's cover, is actually very, very good. Like, it sent chills down my spine. Like, he did such a great job singing that song. And then you had John Legend, who made an acapella version. He really reached out for that acapella voice app and let it all out, and you know what? I support. He did a great job. He has a great voice. And then you also had people like the incredible Aretha Franklin doing a cover of this song. Like, I'm sorry, but when someone as powerful and as influential as Aretha Franklin covers your song, may she rest in peace, you already have a seat at the table as one of the greats. Like, I remember hearing this song for the first time, like it was yesterday. Like, Rolling in the Deep is just, it deserves the number one spot, period. It should be the number one song of the decade. I should really look up what is the number one song of the decade. Is there a list that says that? Because if there is, I want to find out. I'll let you guys know if I see anything. Then the vibe completely shifts for the number 2 spot with Party Rock Anthem by LMFAO. This uncle and nephew duo, yes, uncle and nephew duo, popped into our lives on a random Tuesday afternoon and dropped this song. This song tried so hard to make shuffling a mainstream thing, but I hope that they're happy that their legacy is being lived on by people who go to raves and EDM festivals, because I don't know, is shuffling still a mainstream thing? Because I remember it hit a new peak when I was like in high school or like middle school. I don't know about shuffling. Let me know in the comment section below. I don't know about shuffling, but I hope that, like I said, I hope that they're happy that their legacy is being lived on in raves and EDM festivals. 56 spots in the chart later, they have another banger from 2011, Sexy and I Know It. And while doing research for this video, part of me essentially kind of died while watching the music video for Sexy and I Know It, because it left me with a couple questions. Like, Like, why do you have Handy Manny in the music video? What was the reason and purpose for this music video? Why were they so close to the camera? Because watching this music video again at the age of 21 made me remember the reason why I just removed it from my mind and threw it out on the street to get run over by a car, because that music that music video was a lot to take for a 9-year-old girl. Okay, let me tell you that right now. Yeah, and it was a fun song though. Like, you had kids dancing to it and everything, but like, yeah, there was this person named Trevi Moran, who I found out later was a part of O2L. If you don't know who they are, you were not chronically in line in 2012. They sang the song Sexy and I Know It on the X Factor auditions, and you know they ate it up when they got 4 yeses. And those 4 yeses were not from any typical singer or whatever. They got 2 yeses from Demi Lovato and Britney Spears. So there you go. I also found out that Sexy and I Know It is a Grammy nominated song, and it peaked at #1 as well. It is a song that is 8 times platinum in the US, and Party Rock Anthem is diamond in the US. And also more fun facts. They performed these 2 songs in 2012 Super Bowl halftime show with none other than Madonna. If you go on the dictionary and you look at the word impact, there is a picture of LMFAO right there next to that word. So yeah. We cannot talk about 2011 without mentioning the phenomenon that was Super Bass by Nicki Minaj. Obviously, the video and the song were iconic. It seemed like Nicki Minaj and Kesha were just working overtime to make neon colors and blue light a thing with their music videos and performances, because wow. But one aspect about this song's popularity that I will never forget is the rise of Sophia Grace and Rosie. These are 2 young British girls who went viral on YouTube for their cover of this song, who, first of all, their vocals, Sophia Grace's vocals, unmatched. Rosie's presence, enlightening, amazing. But these 2 girls, they went viral for this song, and they were invited to go to the Ellen show and meet Nicki Minaj. I don't their appearance on their show, just for that one time that they met Nicki Minaj, garnered over 150 million views on YouTube. And I went a little rabbit hole of these girls and, you know, what they did while they were on Ellen. They met Taylor Swift. They met Rihanna. They met Katy Perry. They went to the Grammys. She gave those girls everything. TV, like toys, everything. They met a lot of celebrities. So, yes, the song Super Bass literally changed lives, and I feel like that's something that we should never forget. Another song that I feel we forgot about that was in the top 10 of 2011 was Moves Like Jagger by Maroon 5. This is probably one of their best hits, because no hate, no shade to Maroon 5, no hate, no shade to Adam Levine. They've made great music in the past. But if I had to pick between this and Sugar wiped off of the internet immediately. Sorry, that's just the truth. Maroon 5 made one of the catchiest songs in the world with Move Like Jagger, because it is just so fun to listen to, and you can never get tired of that song. I've never gotten tired of that song. I hope that there's no Move Like Jagger haters out there, because no. And also, like, Christina Aguilera's addition to the song, her amazing vocals was just incredible, and I think it was also a great tribute to Mick Jagger, who is still performing to this day, by the way. Now, I know that Jennifer Lopez has been living in people's minds rent-free in the year 2024 for the wrong reasons, which I'm not going to get into. But in 2011, people were bowing down before her because she was releasing hit after hit. And On the Floor was a force to be reckoned with, okay? She called up Pitbull. She said, "Hey Pitbull, are you ready to make history?" And then that's what they did. Like, On the Floor united society as a whole, and we shouldn't forget that. Just saying. On the Floor is one of the top hits of 2011, and I understand people will have their things with J-Lo, and that's okay. But this song, a bop. Jennifer Lopez in that music video, beautiful. She danced it up. 1 billion views. Guys, let's not forget this. On the Floor was amazing. That's all I gotta say. Another song that came out in 2011 was Friday by Rebecca Black. That is all. That's all I wanted to say about that one. I just want to remind y'all that that's a song that exists. But a couple of other songs that released in 2011 and made the rounds were Pumped Up Kicks by Foster the People, Love You Like a Love Song and Who Says by Selena Gomez and The Scene, Jar of Hearts by Christina Perri, Look at Me Now by Chris Brown featuring Lil Wayne, Busta Rhymes, and all of the other ones that are in the screen right now for you. All these songs came out in 2011. And then a couple of albums that came out in 2011 other than 21 for Born This Way and Femme Fatale. We have Love by Jennifer Lopez. We have When the Sun Goes Down by Selena Gomez and The Scene. Talk That Talk by Rihanna, which we will get to in 2012. The Carter 4, Up All Night, and Watch the Throne by Jay-Z and Kanye. Alright, now we made it to the section of the video where I talk about events that happened in the music industry in the year 2011. There is a little bit of a variety here, I think, so yeah, let's just get to it. Since I ended my last video talking about the VMAs, I thought that it would be great to open this section talking about the 2011 VMAs. Now, the 2010 VMAs were special for the nostalgic aspect of the event, like the year 2010, but the 2011 VMAs, these were special because they were both weird yet impactful for the legacy of several artists. I want to talk about some of the weird stuff first. You had Nicki Minaj performing a skit with Beavis and Butthead where the pair asked Nicki Minaj to partake on a specific action that I'm not going to say right here, which, by the way, thank God that flew over my head at the age of 9, but the creativity was definitely through the roof with that one. Then you had the cast of Jersey Shore presenting an award alongside the actress Clovis Leachman, who was 85 years old at the time. And based on her IMDb, I don't think she was there to promote anything as far as I know. Now, when it came to the performances at the award show, they have a mixture of a little bit of weird, a little bit of interesting, a little bit of amazing. So you had Lady Gaga as her alter ego, Joe Calderone, performing You and I with special guest Brian May. As kids, we were immensely unaware of how incredibly iconic this moment was because Brian May is one of the greatest and most recognized guitar players in the world. And as a kid, I would watch that performance. I was like, who is that guy with the long white hair? Because I had no idea who that was. And I apologize for that. But again, I was 9. And then, you just had Lady Gaga like casually bringing him out on the stage, which I think is amazing. Because also, she did this Joe Calderone character so well because I legit thought that he was a real person until a few years later when I found out that was really Lady Gaga in a costume. Like, for the longest time, I thought that this Joe guy was real. But that was just Lady Gaga in an incredible costume and doing an incredible performance. That was her audition for A Star Is Born. That was her audition for the Joker movie. Like, she killed it. And I believed that was somebody else. I didn't think that was Lady Gaga. And then you had Adele, who performed Someone Like You, and then went on to share a cigarette with Lady Gaga in front of Tony Bennett, who was also in the audience. Like, I understand he was there for a tribute to the late, great Amy Winehouse, but you would not expect Tony Bennett at the audience of the VMAs. It's actually so weird. But anyways, then you had Jay-Z and Kanye performing Otis from their album Watch the Throne. Pitbull performed Give Me Everything. And to top it all off, Beyonce did the Love on Top performance. Like, she knew that the 2011 VMAs were lacking a little bit of something. Lady Gaga and Adele needed that extra support in performances. And Beyonce just came in there, dropped the microphone, and dropped the baby announcement. So I think she killed it. I think that was the performance of the night. I think you would agree. Now, the next event will be more on the tech side of music, but 2011 was the year that Spotify was brought into the United States. Spotify began to be developed in 2006, and in 2008, it was released to the public in Europe. This placed it in competition with iTunes and Pandora, who were the two major streaming platforms at the time. And don't get me started on Napster, which I don't even know if Napster was still there in 2011. And now, if you think about it, in 2024, it is very rare to hear someone buying a song on iTunes or listening to a station in Pandora. It may seem like a vintage thing now. Like, people today who are buying vinyls, CDs, and VHS tapes, at some point, I feel like Generation Alpha or whatever generation comes after them might actually discover the buy music section on iTunes. Or iTunes might get rid of it. I don't know what might happen first. I don't even know. And listen, I'm sure a lot of people still buy music on iTunes. I know for a fact that Trisha Paytas still buys music on iTunes.
Yeah, I was going to ask what's on your app. What do you listen to music on?
I buy it off iTunes.
for
Wait,
$1.29.
Wait, what?
The girl is single-handedly paying these artists the 0.0036 cents that they get every single time someone purchases one of their songs. And you know what? And that's amazing. She's keeping the tradition alive, which is good. The last time I think I bought a song on iTunes was probably like before the pandemic, I'm pretty sure. You know, I wanted to mark this event in 2011 because look at Spotify now. Spotify is the most used music streaming service in the world with over 500 million active users. I joined Spotify back in 2017 and I have not stopped being a loyal user since then. Like, do you know how long it takes me to carefully curate my Spotify Wrapped so I don't constantly get the Shrek 2 soundtrack in my top 5 at the end of the year? Like, that's a lot of hard work. Like, Spotify Wrapped is like that little treat. It's like a little sweet treat. Spotify Wrapped is a sweet treat for all of us. It doesn't matter if you have Spotify Premium. It doesn't matter if you have like the free version. Like, Spotify Wrapped is like this little treat that we get at the end of the year that reminds us of the cringe fest of music that we listen to. But you know what? You should not be... Listen, if you have your top 5 be the Hamilton soundtrack or the Dear Evan Hansen soundtrack, or you have the Hannah Montana soundtrack, or you have the Shrek 2 soundtrack like I do, don't be ashamed of it, because Spotify Wrapped has your back, and it makes you feel confident. It gives you that 2024 was the year of you, babes, and you listened to Accidentally in Love from the Shrek 2 soundtrack 50 million times, and we're proud of you because of it. We're proud of you. So, yeah. Let's see you do that, Apple Music. Let's see you do that. Let's see you do that, iTunes. Don't come after me, Apple. Please don't. But anyways, Spotify 2011, United States. Music's never been the same. The last event that I wanted to share with you is the Black Eyed Peas taking a hiatus. On July 6, 2011, the Black Eyed Peas announced during a performance that they were taking a hiatus later that year. This came to a shock because they had just had a massive year with the rollout of their album The Beginning, which came out in late 2010. Their performance at the Super Bowl halftime show, however you want to think about that performance, happened. And they had several chart-topping songs and award wins that year. And I'm not talking about some random music group separating. This is the Black Eyed Peas. Like, they raised an entire generation with their music. From the early 2000s with Where Is the Love and Let's Get It Started, to the mid 2000s with Pump It and Don't Funk With My Heart, to the late 2000s with I Got a Feeling and Boom Boom Pow, and now the early 2010s with I Just Can't Get Enough and Don't Stop the Party. And let's not forget about songs like Meet Me Halfway, I'm a Bee, and the incredible My Humps, which is a song that I think we should all forget, actually. That's not part of the script. Like, their music brought people together. Their incredible lyricism lives rent-free in our brains. Because let me tell you that the lyric, I'm so 3008, you're so 2008, changed people's lives and changed the way that I look at life. Because I could have sworn that Fergie was saying, I'm so 2008, you're so 2008. But I guess my entire life was a lie. You know, at least I'm not alone in that front, because there is literally an entire subreddit dedicated to this song and how it's literally just a Mandela effect. But that's how you know the impact of the Black Eyed Peas. Like, the Black Eyed Peas were a staple of the 2000s, and the fact that they were going on a hiatus made it seem like they were breaking up forever, until they released albums in 2018, 2020, and 2022 without Fergie. Which, Fergie, come back to us, girlie. Come back to us, Fergie. I don't know what you're doing. Come back to us, please. Now, 2011 was definitely a year in pop culture and a year in music. You know, she hides behind the shadows of 2012 and 2014, but I think that she had highlights as well, like Adele and Britney and Beyonce and, you know, LMFAO. But I think it is for me, in my own personal experience, 2011 is the year where I started to gain more consciousness of what was happening around me when it comes to the world of music and pop culture. So doing this research was definitely a lot of fun, because I got to reminisce a lot more about my childhood and the things that I can remember a lot more clearly than what I can remember about 2010. So thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you for staying till the end if you did. I know this video is long, and I know all the videos of this series are going to be long, but I just have a lot of fun doing this research, and you know, just let me share it with the world. Why not? So yeah, my next video will be on 2012, so make sure to stick around for that. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to get more of my videos and hit that like button if you really like this video. Also hit the bell icon to get notified every single time I post a video. And yeah, also follow me on social media. I'm posting a lot more on TikTok and Instagram and all that stuff. So if you're interested in that, please follow me. So yeah, thank you so much. I'll be seeing you guys next time. Bye.